Have you ever wondered how to teach your horse to tie patiently without having to watch him struggle and fight with the post, injuring himself? Or without having to leave him short and hard-tied for hours on end in the sun? Or maybe you're wondering how to teach your horse to ground tie and stand quietly anywhere you drop the lead. In this video, I will show you 5 steps to getting the perfect tie using Wild Horse Ricochet. He has never been tied before and is still in the process of learning that people are not here to hurt him, so we can expect to see some behaviors common to horses that do not know how to tie. So the first thing we want to teach Ricochet is that being tethered means he gets to take a break. I start by practicing whatever drills we've been working on recently, which for him has been learning to follow softly on the lead. I want him to believe that this is today's focus and that standing by the fence is his time to relax. I do not hard tie him, but just place the lead on the fence very loosely. I want him to easily be able to pull away so he doesn't ever feel trapped. The first several times, I will set the lead down and walk away entirely to make sure he does not feel any pressure when he is tied. He does try to follow me, but when he feels the resistance in the lead, he does stop and wait. It is important the horse knows what halter pressure is and has some practice being soft to it before attempting this. I will leave him alone until he decides to walk away from the post, and then I will grab the lead and continue asking him to work. After a couple minutes, we return to the post to try again. I still keep the lead very loose on the post. He should only feel a slight resistance and be able to easily pull away. This prevents him from panicking and setting back. We never want being tied to be a scary or unpleasant situation. We want him thinking that standing here taking a break and resting is his idea. Once he figures this game out, we can safely wrap the lead around the post to increase resistance. After another 20 minutes or so, we finally see him begin to get bored and want to leave the post. With the increased resistance, he can't just walk away without feeling the lead catch on the post. He can still get away if he decides to pull back, but since he's still using the thinking side of his brain instead of panicking and going into self-preservation mode, he can work through the problem and decide for himself that it is easier to stand still. I will take this opportunity to get him working again. If he doesn't want to stand tied, he doesn't have to. This is all on his terms and nothing is forced. Once he has a good understanding that the hitching post is a break from work time, we want to teach him that being impatient at the post will only create more work for him, which leads us to step 2. Restless behavior leads to more work time. I'm going to teach this by creating distractions. I don't want my distractions to scare him into flight mode, but I also don't want to create a strong draw away from the post, such as introducing food at this point. I start by swinging this toy around to catch his eye. He becomes curious and follows me, so I take his lead and have him work with me. It is vitally important that he can stand still and be patient when we are moving around him and presenting new objects. He is in dire need of a hoof trim, and teaching him to pick up his feet is only part of the process. If you first teach your horse to stand quietly and comfortably when you move around him and cause commotion, when it comes time to groom, trim hooves, tack up, administer vaccines, or even mount up for the first time, he will be more prepared to remain calm and still. If he moves away from the post at any point, we will just immediately go back to working on something more difficult or strenuous. Step 3 is important to teach him to hard tie safely. If he feels tension on the lead, he needs to think forwards, not backwards. The last thing we want is for him to pull back, feel the pressure on his pole, and react by rearing, setting back, or pulling himself over. This could lead to injury to the neck and pole or even the pelvis if the horse pulls back violently. So we take avoiding this whenever possible very seriously. Here I'm putting a decent amount of tension on the lead to ask him to step forward. This is not the time to be soft and gentle. I want him to feel the pressure against his pole when he is in a calm state of mind, so that the behavior will transfer to when he is spooked and feels the same pressure. The second he steps forward, I will relax the lead rope so he understands that this was the correct response. After a few minutes of repetition, he understands what to do, and I will intentionally cause him to startle a bit and pull back. Remember, we are not tying the rope yet, so that he can easily move away if he needs to. He takes a few steps back and I wait for him to stop before pulling him back forward. Again, we never want him to feel trapped. Just back, pull, forward, repeat until he's comfortable with that amount of force on his pull and understands he needs to move forward to release it. In step 4, we will help Ricochet to understand that he shouldn't pull back in the first place, and we will do that by teaching him that he is safe when he remains calm. I loop the lead twice for this exercise to increase resistance so that he doesn't move too far away. Now I want to push him just slightly over his fear threshold, but nothing to completely push him into flight mode. I know he's still reactive towards the lunge whip noises, but not terrified of them, so this works well for this individual horse. I will maintain the same level of threat until I see him start to relax and stand calmly. He's giving to the lead rope beautifully, and tries to move forward instead of back. The minor panic is okay. We are setting him up to succeed in situations where he may truly panic and need these skills to remain calm and safe. His instincts are telling him that he may be in danger, but he's using what he previously learned to think through this. When he stops, we see him step forward, lick and chew, and sigh, which means he's coming out of flight mode and his nervous system has reset. It's at this moment that I stop tossing the whip around and walk away, leaving him alone to relax and solidify that remaining calm will keep him safe. After an opportunity to rest, we repeat the exercise to see if he learned anything. He did. He stays very calm now and doesn't fight being tied at all. He actually becomes quite curious about what I'm doing. I also test to see how he will respond to being handled and touched all over while being tied. Ricochet is improving greatly, but he's still at risk of biting or kicking if pushed too far, so I'm happy to see him quite relaxed here. Our last step to practice is ground tying. He can now put everything he's learned together and understand to stay anywhere that lead is dropped. I start with a reminder that when we aren't tied, we are working, and he shows off his softness here. I make sure he sees me drop the lead, so he knows I no longer want him to follow me, and give him a rest when he stands quietly. I'm just going to casually walk past him now, not even looking his way, and he decides he wants to follow me. So I ask him to back up and yield hindquarters for a minute before putting him back exactly where I asked him to stay and dropping the lead again. I try once more to walk all around him both directions, and he now understands to stand there. With more practice of these 5 steps, he will become a pro at tying anywhere we need him to and remaining calm for every situation, allowing us to give him the care he needs. Thanks for sticking with us to the end, and don't forget to check out these other videos for more wild horse gentling and stress-free training.